The next update for Path of Titans is already done and could be coming soon, and also it's something that we probably won't expect it to be. So let's talk about it. Firstly, I want to say thank you to Dokals who forwarded me this information during a stream. If I didn't know about this, I wouldn't have made a video covering this because I completely skipped over it. However, this all stems back to discussions from the 4th of December onwards, which once I tell you what we know, it could lead us to believe the next update is sooner than we think and probably coming this month. On the 4th of December 2025, Matt went to the Discord while talking about a wide array of things to say this: the next update is already done. We stopped working on it and just have to wait for it to be approved. He did then go ahead to say that he, what's everyone's predictions for the update, but also that people probably won't guess what the update is, and if they do, well, he'll bear that in mind and he'll note that down. Now, I want to bear in mind here, this is almost 10 days old, and it makes me wonder if they are waiting on Nintendo to approve things, and if this is the case, they will likely be wanting to release this update in one big swoop. I was told by Dokals in the stream that they are waiting for Nintendo, but please do bear in mind that this isn't from the dev's mouth, this is inferring what the developers said. So, I also couldn't find the exact comment that would support it, aside from them saying the update's gone for approval. If that is the case though, however, that they're waiting on Nintendo, it'll be the first update in a little while in which they have done this, where they waited for all platforms to approve the game first. The last few updates for the game have had players sit in some form of Nintendo Limbo Land, also known as Nintendo Jail or Switch Jail, and I feel if the developers are waiting for the update to be approved, it could definitely be a more significant update, because the last ones weren't that significant. Although yes, there were TLCs there, they're not like something huge. Also, it's important to bear in mind when it comes to approval times, we've known historically that Xbox and PlayStation could take a couple hours or a few days to approve the update. And let's be honest, if it's been almost over 10 days, it's highly unlikely that Xbox and PlayStation are still waiting for approval, and it's highly likely that they have already accepted it and they're just waiting for Nintendo to also approve it as well. Now, what could further impact this theory is if we go back to November, Matt said he was most excited for the December update. And if he already knew what it was by then, which he probably will, he's probably got a backlog on knowledge of what the updates are for the next year. If this is the one he's most excited for, especially in the upcoming development for the game, this could be a huge update. Albeit it could literally also be the Camptosaurus TLC, because this man loves Camptosaurus. However, there are some stuff in this update we can rule out, and a potential misconception about it being delayed. Now I want to quickly hammer out a potential misconception here about this update being delayed, because this was someone asked me this in my stream on Thursday, which I recommend you check out. It was yesterday's stream, but it was from a comment from Matt which said on the 8th, "Thanks, our release is delayed because undocking the game while playing breaks your dinosaur from attacking, and this bug has been in the game since 2022. Thanks, Nintendo." Now, this could literally be inferred as something that caused the game to be delayed when it originally released, or previous updates to be pushed back because of this bug, or is referring to this update being pushed back because of this bug. Now, this was 4 days ago. Matt hasn't commented on it since, and it was also in a thread where he was talking about going to therapy because of Nintendo. So it could literally be a previous update, and this is just something he's saying now. So do bear that in mind. It might not mean the update's been delayed. It could be referring to an old update. It could be referring to when the game originally released onto Switch and it was maybe delayed because of that. You can make your own judgments here. Matt hasn't commented on it since, and he hasn't commented about the update being delayed, so I wouldn't worry about it being delayed. I guess if push comes to shove, it just won't release on Nintendo straight away. Now, there are 2 things, or 3 things, we definitely know that are not coming in this update, and they're quite different to each other. Firstly, let's talk about the first 2, because these are actual physical things that we knew are coming. Now, the first one is the blue moss. This was confirmed on the 8th of December that it will unfortunately not be coming to this update. This doesn't mean it's not coming to the game at all, so do bear that in mind. The next one is one of the most anticipated things since the developers first spoke on this, and it's matchmaking. This was also confirmed on the 8th. Matt said that matchmaking didn't make it to this update, unfortunately, but he does later say he could hot patch in a solo mode, but that depends. Now, these are big. Blue moss, I'm sure we all thought was coming as part of a quest overhaul, which does make me wonder a little bit, is this update going to be a focus on quest overhauls, or is it going to be something else like foliage overhauls? I'm not too sure. However, the other one is the matchmaking. Now, this is a big one because the devs wanted some form of matchmaking out, preferably this year. However, it's been a few months now and that has not been the case. It's likely they've kind of put it on hold for other things, or maybe they're working on the programming side of things. They did say it could take up to 9 months for this one to be finished and in a stage to be playable. And it's important that this feature requires a lot of back-end code as well to make sure it runs smoothly. Technically, there is a third one as well because Pandora TLC was confirmed to not be coming anytime soon in November. So, yeah, that's a given, right? Now, I do have some theories here, so let's quickly talk about them, because if we look at past devlog examples, especially from this year, you've got stuff like smokestacks, insects on corpses, or even the foliage. Now, the insects on corpses, I'm actually unsure if that's going to release at all, because I feel like it's going to seem a little too gory, and there might be like, you know, YouTube might be like, well, I don't like this, even though YouTube doesn't really like anything, or even like game ratings as well. Smokestacks, I think, would probably be tied into an ocean overhaul. We'll talk about that in a moment. And the foliage updates is probably the most likely candidate. We've been seeing a lot of foliage this year, and it's highly likely that, well, this update could be the big one that brings it to the game. And if it does, that paves the way for something like Microraptor to come to the game. Now, of course, the other one here is game modes. These have been in testing for quite some time, and I'm not going to lie, I think a fair few people want game modes to be out by now, especially the Team Deathmatch, or even the King of the Hill, or the Capture the Egg game modes. I know Last Herbivore Standing won't be coming anytime soon, so we can just ignore that. The final thing I wanted to mention for a theory is a new playable, because if you look back on every single December where there's been an update in this game, there's been a new playable, dating all the way back to 2020. It could be either Micro, Leeds, Tylo, or the Mystery Dinosaur. Personally, I want it to be Microraptor, but that's because I doubt there'd be an ocean overhaul. However, if there was an ocean overhaul, it would then mean the smokestacks come to the game and everything like that, which means we could end up seeing one of either Leeds or Tylo as well. That being said, the other thing is it could literally be the Mystery Dinosaur. If the devs want a really easy playable to just chuck out there like they've done with Tyrannotitan last year, they could drop the Mystery Dinosaur as additional free content for us, or they could drop another paid dinosaur. Now, this could end up being a Christmas update, and I think it's probably going to be labelled as such because we're now in the final 13 days before Christmas. Historically, in December, we have seen a handful of updates around these days. Last year was the 22nd of December, in 2023 it was the 25th of December where we saw Hats and Replay Mode released. Last year, by the way, on the 22nd it was Tyrannotitan. On the 7th of December it was Gondwar with Fal and Kai released. On the 20th of December it was Megalania in 2021. And on the 18th of December 2020 it was Albertoceratops releasing. Now ideally we're looking to see this release in the run-up of Christmas. It's past the 7th, so it could literally be any day now, but I think it could release anywhere between, let's say, the 18th and 25th. My thoughts are it could release on the 20th, but that's, like I said, 5 days before Christmas. However, the devs don't historically release a big patch on a weekend, so if anything, it'd either be the 17th, 18th, or 19th, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Back end of the week, people are busy, gives people something to be excited for to get them to the end of the week. And it gives the devs time to prepare the servers for whatever happens. Realistically though, a date is hard to predict. We just know it's probably coming before Christmas. Because, well, if we look at the historics, that's likely the case. And if you look at the historics, it could likely be a playable. However, the devs are known to go against the mold sometimes, so let's see if they go against the mold this time and release just a massive update without a playable. That being said, we haven't had a playable this year at all, so it's probably not going to be an alien fact that there will be no playable at Christmas either. What do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to check out another video, check out this one about upcoming sauropod mods like Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, and Camarasaurus. But other than that, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Peace.